Welcome back to another Top 10 Countdown here on Boxing Legends TV. Today, we'll be taking a look at some of the finest rising stars in the ever-brightening heavyweight division. It's never easy to compile a list like this with so many young guys trying to make a name for themselves in the money division. But thankfully, for you guys watching at home, this is a part of the sport we pay thorough attention to all year round. So without any further ado, let's get straight to number 10. Izu Ugonna is the only fighter listed today with a loss on his record, but it was his brutal, valiant effort against Dominic Breazeale that proved this kid can be a serious problem when competing at the top of his game. Izu is a Polish boxer from a Nigerian descent that became a university graduate at a young age and quickly turned his knowledge for physical education into the fighting art. He started out as a kickboxer and became the European champion in no time, but while watching back some of his fights, it's clear to see he was a specialist with his hands, and I guess that's why he took up pro boxing in 2010.
Cała seria ciosów rozbija, miały uderzać podbródkowe, sierpowe, tak jak chciał trener. Kolejny podbródkowy.
After a dozen fights in Poland, his talent was recognized by the well-renowned trainer Kevin Barry in New Zealand, who brought Izu over to share some sparring sessions with the rising star Joseph Parker.
The thing is that I've been working hard, and I've been working with Kev for a year now, and I believe that with every training time I'm getting better and better.
Barry soon took over Izu's full coach, where he went on to feature him regularly on Parker's undercards.
It said that Izu has a significant... right in. He's done. That's a pure knockout. What a right hand. Bam!
Izu has obvious power, but his stamina seems to be his biggest flaw. Breazeale showed a big heart to battle through their contest, but in the end it seemed Izu's gas tank became his downfall. Izu hasn't fought since the Breazeale fight in 2017.
Знаю, что все поединки так. И вот этот бой уже закончится, видимо, тоже в первом раунде, потому что все.
The 29-year-old heavyweight from Russia has had 12 fights, 12 wins, with 12 knockouts, all in the first round.
Победа Ростислава, но тот венгр сломался после первой атаки, по-моему.
The thing that separates Plechko from the other fighters on the list is the fact his boxing technique isn't exactly something you'd expect from an Eastern European fighter. He's wild, sloppy, unorthodox as hell, but as soon as that bell rings, you better be prepared for an almighty hailstorm as he runs at you with the intention to kill.
Ростислава помешает как раз нехватка веса. Очень мощный удар, левша. Сразу бросился на противника и...
I personally think Plechko will be heavily avoided for a while. He might have to pay some of those known journeymen a few extra bucks to get in the ring with him until he gets himself into a ranked position. Overall, I'd say he's got good potential, but there is a reason why no one in boxing fights with this type of aggressiveness. Normally, you get found out by the first decent counterpuncher you meet, but only time will tell. Who else remembers when the 2014 New York Golden Gloves champion George Arias turned pro a couple years back? This guy raised a few hairs on people's necks with his slick Muhammad Ali type style in the ring.
Both hands, word in the street is 60. Like the head movement on Arias, side to side work from Arias.
I'm looking his eye.
And another jab hurts Kaysen, same as in round one, and he hits the deck. Kaysen goes down in round two. George Arias, the power puncher.
In 2016, however, he seems to have fallen off the edge of the earth as he disappeared off the scene completely. I know I wasn't the only one checking his BoxRec every week to see if he had a new fight announced, but thankfully in 2017 he returned to the ring with 5 solid outings and now has a record of 10-0 with 6 knockouts. As fun as George is to watch, I have to point out he's only 6 foot, which puts him in the midget category amongst today's giants. He is a pretty strong kid for his size, but will he be able to compete at world level in the coming years? My gut reaction tells me he won't, but I'll certainly be keeping my eye on him from here on. Personally, I've never been a fan of overweight fighters. The way I see it, if boxing is your profession, you have a duty to train hard and replace those flabby areas with solid muscle. But Poland's own Adam Kownacki just appears to keep improving from fight to fight despite his weight yo-yoing like crazy.
They don't see what they need
Two
to see.
uppercuts and a right hand.
There it is.
And
There
down
it
he goes.
In 2017, however, Kownacki got himself into a career-best weight at 240 pounds and brutally punished his fellow Polish teammate Artur Szpilka in his best win to date.
But he's going to throw a lot of punches as he tries to just smother Szpilka.
Controlling the distance this round to me.
Right hand connects by Brodnowski.
It's the same way with his hands down right here.
Kownacki was rightfully the underdog going into this one. Szpilka gave Deontay Wilder a serious run for his money in his previous outing before being stopped in the 10th. Kownacki took it a step further and got rid of him inside 4. Take away from that what you will, but this big boy earned himself a spot in 2 of the 4 sanctioning body rankings and will likely be in a top matchup in 2018. Rising prospect Joe Joyce has a unique set of skills that might just put him above everyone else on this list when it comes to ring generalship.
6 onwards, this is where the game plan really kicks in for them to take over, control, stay in top form, and continue to use the versatility of strikes, angles, and footwork.
The 3-0, all knockouts heavyweight for London made a huge statement when he entered the pro game last year with a dominant performance over Ian Lewison.
Beyond him, that's the position.
For me, Joyce was robbed of a gold medal in the 2016 Rio Games after a controversial decision to Tony Yoka, but thankfully still got a chance to shine as a pro as David Haye quickly signed him up under his Ringstar promotional company.
I want to try to, put you in the ring with guys that, British fighters don't fight in the first, say, 5 fights.
Joyce isn't the most exciting fighter to watch. He doesn't really sit on his punches and often throws shots without much conviction, but this kid can box.
We know how important it is to stop.
He's 6'6" and can move like a middleweight for the most part, with excellent footwork and jab, and seems to be learning as the fights pass. He is currently scheduled to face the former title challenger and tough man Derek Chisora on May 5th, so look out for that, as it's guaranteed to let us know just where Joyce fits in this division. I personally think we'll see him at title level late next year, assuming his promoter can make the right fights happen along the way. Daniel Dubois is a young 20-year-old heavyweight getting a ton of media attention for all the right reasons.
And what did you think of Daniel for a 19-year-old?
I thought he was fantastic. He reminded me of myself when I was 19, very tall and big and strong and ambitious. He's a good kid, he's one for the future for sure.
Dubois started boxing at a young age and enjoyed lots of success as an amateur, being victorious in 70 of his 75 fights and winning various tournaments along the way. As a pro, it's been nothing but knockouts with 7 straight over the last year, and only one man seeing the 3rd round.
Looking carefully, and now, that's surely it! Massive right hand, and it is all over in the first round.
I do think that we're starting to see slight flaws in his game as he's progressed through the British domestic scene. He looks a little slow, defensively inept at times, but he certainly makes up for it with his God-given raw power. As I said earlier, Dubois is only 20 years old and has never-ending time to keep slowly improving and learn his craft, which I hope his promoter Frank Warren understands, because I think we'd see the Dubois train crash quickly if he was to meet young game challengers at this time in his career. Without throwing too much shade on the young man, Dubois is another great addition to the heavyweight division, and I have no doubt we'll see him in some big fights down the line.
Dodge